Fabulous. Hello, everybody, and just an incredible warm welcome to all the Color Chats members and all the people who love color mirrors and who loves chats about color, and any guests who are joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the 4th episode of Color Chats, and I have got today with me the fabulous Korani from England. Hi, Korani. Welcome, girl.
Hi, Moira. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm just thrilled and honored to be here.
Oh, wow. Well, any excuse for us to talk about color mirrors and gossip about Melissa, eh? The founder of Color Mirrors. All the things we could say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Maybe she'll join, who knows? So, Korani, we got quite a nice jam-packed show today. So I'm first going to start off by just saying to the viewers to pick 1, 2, or 3 today. It's going to be oil. So I'm going to switch camera here. Let's do this whole technology thing, and let's show the color pick bottles of the week. And there the camera. You see, Korani, I tested it before it came on. It was there. It worked, right?
It was there. I saw it. There it is. There it is.
I had to click it twice. All right, my darling. So what I'd like you to do is to feel into whether you're drawn to 1, 2, or 3. Korani, I want you to feel into it as well, while I'm just going to make sure that we are live and that we are on the screen. Okay. And also to welcome Patty, Deborah from the United States, Leslie and the UK, Moira Andrews, UK, Yvonne, Lisa. Amy says hello. Hi, Anne is here. Oh, that's fantastic. You're all watching and tuning in. I'm just checking to see on my screen on the side here that you're here. Anne says she's number 1 today. Patricia says she's the number 1. Oh, now Amy too. Oh, interesting. That's going to be an interesting one, number 2. What have you got, Korani? Which one are you going for?
I'm number 1. Yeah, I'm going number 1.
Yeah, me too. I was doing 1 this week. I keep choosing the same as the guests on the show. Hello, Poppet. Oh, little Cody wants to come up and say hello as well. There you go, sweetheart. Okie dokie. So when you have your pick, you need to put into the comments box 1, 2, or 3, so we can check later on to see what you've chosen. And please, if you could kindly hit the share button as we are live now, share it in your timeline, in groups, wherever you can on Facebook, so that we can invite audience outside of Color Chats in, so they get to know what we're up to over here. Because oh, look, their darling Maritta's joined us all the way from Norway as well. That's fantastic. Aurelia from Denmark. Oh, she's got 3 today, Aurelia. 3, interesting one for you. Okay, fabulous. That's fantastic. Please, if you have any questions for Korani, our guest today, pop it in the comments box as well. Okay, so Korani, what do you think about this whole technology that we've thrown ourselves into, and literally doing this? I mean, we wouldn't have thought about doing this 10 years ago, right? No way. We would have got
no way.
Cameras. We didn't even want to do videos. I remember having conversations with cameras.
Definitely.
Oh.
It's amazing, isn't it, how we've been thrown into this world of technology and how we've just had no choice but to embrace it. And actually, I've come to really love it. I mean, I'm certainly no expert when it comes to the technology, but I love what it enables us to do. I just love the fact that we can do this today. How exciting is that?
I know. And how exciting that Melissa had her very first webinar. She had her first online, and I mean, you know, Color Mirrors has been around since 2001. And this was the first Color Mirrors broadcast in 2021.
Yeah, amazing, just amazing. And wasn't it superb as well? What an amazing time we had. You know, every time I see Melissa delivering anything, any kind of workshop, I just get amazed all over again at how extraordinary she is and what she has to offer and what this incredible system has to share with us.
And I love the new bottle, the magic bottle. Actually, the dog jumped up on me now because I just sprayed it before we went live. So that's actually what he's doing. If you look at him, he just loves this magic bottle. He licks it. You want some more? Or you want to lick the other hand now? He just loves it, and he licks and licks it. Melissa says it's nothing to do with the magic in the bottles. The dog just likes the alcohol in it. She's so funny. Come, sweetheart, go lie down there for Mama. There's a good boy. Yeah. You've got your kitty on your lap too, I believe.
I have always. Yeah, she's always joining me whenever I'm doing Zoom. You'd never know, apart from the times when their tail kind of cruises across the screen. But
A little snake. Yeah, all right. So what I want to do, Korani, is every week I feature Color Mirrors bottle, and this week we're on bottle number 4, and we're on the 4th essence in a color rainbow chart that I have. And I'd like us to just share what we know about the bottles, specifically what you know about the bottles, with the audience as well. So we're going to be looking at a very tricky bottle. It's one that people don't always love. They kind of say, some people have actually this ugliest bottle. Not that there's any ugly bottles, but it's like the least favorite one that they have. So let me go and share screen and go and have a look at our slides and put it up and share it with the audience here. There we go. So, of course, this is the Uranus bottle. It's got that yellow and that deep turquoise underneath, and it's got that horrible, murky little green line in the middle that I just like, ugh, I've never loved this bottle. What experiences have you had with this one, with your lot up there in England?
Okay, well, this is, like you say, one that a lot of people shy away from. They kind of go, oh, what is that thing? And it does look green to a lot of people. You know, they don't recognize that it's turquoise because it just does look green because of that green in the middle there. And there's something about, of course, yellow and green. For those people who've studied color will know that yellow and green is a Cathar combination, which is really difficult past life stuff. So I think for a lot of people, it brings up deep-seated fears, challenges. Also, because it is deep turquoise in the bottom, we're talking about emotions, you know, and people are like, don't make me go there and look at my deep fears and my deep emotions. You know, that's not stuff most people want to look at. But what happens when people choose this bottle, when they actively say, I'm going for this one, even though I don't like it, I'm going to go for it, is that's their higher self saying, I'm ready to start embracing change, and I'm ready to start shifting things that no longer serve me. And you know, one of the main messages of this bottle is it's time to shift out everything that is no longer in alignment with who you really are. Yeah. And again, that can be quite a tough message for a lot of people to hear.
But that's exactly what happened in 2020, because 2 and 2 makes 4, and this is number 4. So this bottle was a huge energy for the whole 2020 energies. I mean, everything was saying, you've got to go deep and you've got to dive deep. So if people were even forced to stay at home and locked in with their families to dive deep into the emotions there, you couldn't not go there.
You couldn't not go there.
Yeah. So there's a lovely image of the planet Uranus, because this is a planet bottle. Why are you moaning at me? Can you hear this little one in the background? He's really upset with me. Do you want to come up, sweetheart? Kindly, I'll put the words up for us to read.
Yeah, for sure. So it relates to change, unexpected, unstoppable change. And of course, this is what happened last year. And yeah. I think didn't we have, as a Color Mirrors family, we had a collective bathing experience day, didn't we? I think it was at the 4th of July, something like that, where lots and lots of people around the world chose to bathe in this bottle on the same day. And you know, I think it was the first time that I've ever bathed in it, and it was actually amazing. And what I've heard from people in the past and what I experienced myself was that even though we look at it and go, whoa, I don't want to get in that thing, by the time you do, it's just so supportive. It's so deep and it's so holding, and it just really makes you go, change, you know what? I can do that. I can do this. So it was so perfect for 2020. It
was. And I remember when I bathed in my one, and I wrote a little post about it, because normally this is the one I just really don't ever want to bath. And I'm Aquarian, Uranus is my ruling planet. And I bathed in it, and the water went this beautiful pale turquoise, beautiful color, and it was so peaceful. I had a completely opposite reaction to my judgment about this bottle. It was like, I've had enough change and upheaval in my life. I don't want more. Why would I willingly want more?
Exactly. But you know, this is what this bottle does, is it really changes your perception on change. You know, it really helps you to just go, it's just life. It's just evolution, you know, it's just another thing to embrace, and it helps you to let go. As you've said here, yellow depicts the letting go of control, and of course that's the one thing none of us want to let go of.
Definitely, you know, and it's we have a lovely yellow story with addictions as well. You know, because this bottle says, if you really want to be in the flow, let go your addictions, or don't let your addictions control you anymore. So that's sometimes the difficult part in it. And then I also said here that it's often chosen when you are experiencing an avalanche of changes and upheaval. When people just go, my life doesn't make sense, no matter what I do, nothing's working. Then they'll go and pick this bottle. Then we know that those 4 cornerstone foundations is being ripped open, and they cannot. There is no new foundations being taken away from them. They've got to build a new one. So yeah, I love that. Thanks, Korani. Let's have a look what people are saying here. Oh, they're still talking about Melissy's workshop and how much they enjoyed it as well. Amy Bell says, what if this bottle is a person's birthday and not a chosen bottle? Ouch. Amy, she always asks such good questions. Well, what do you think? What do you think? How would that relate to the birthday bottle as a life learning, Korani?
Yeah, poor you. I'm sorry. No, seriously, it just says to me, if this is part of your life path and part of your journey to really embody and embrace this energy, then it says you're a change agent. It says you are somebody who actually helps bring about change in the world, and God knows that's needed, you know. So actually the whole thing is about perception, and whether you perceive it as a curse and a challenge, or whether you perceive it as a blessing and a gift. And I would say, make friends with this bottle. If this is your birthday number, make friends with it, get to know it, get to dive deep into it and experience the blessings that it brings. Because at the end of the day, if we never had change, imagine, you know, that we couldn't exist on this planet without change. Change is what keeps us evolving and growing and living. In fact, we'd be dead. So in fact, this is an amazing energy, and it's just really about embracing the fact that you are someone who is an enabler and a facilitator of change for other people, and holding a space for other people.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Amy, I hope you like that. That's a beautiful explanation. I love it. Thank you, Korani. What a nice way to look at a really weird, little bit ugly bottle. Okay, let's have a look at our spritzer of the week. And here we've got, because we're in the coppers. For the first few weeks, we're really in that part of the rainbow. We're doing a little rainbow journey through the system, and we're in copper. And this is the Copper Dragon. I'll put a couple of words up for here. This is a bottle that healers are very, very attracted to, and often chosen by Reiki practitioners. And really, in my experience, Korani, I found this one, people choose it when they want to feel safe and they want to be grounded. What have you got an experience to share with a Copper Dragon?
You know, I just love this dragon. I absolutely love her. And we call her a her. She's got a very feminine energy, but a very empowered feminine energy. So to me, she brings softness, she brings gentleness, she brings kindness and sweetness. You know, there's this kind of honey-like quality to her, and even to the color. And yet within all of that softness and gentleness, there's this incredible strength. And so what she enables, what I find personally, and what people that I've worked with have found, is that she just opens the door to a new experience of being on earth. She helps to make it sweeter here, to make it gentler, to make it easier to ground, in fact. But then she also, to me, has this real kind of shimmery sparkle. She's got a little bit of sass, you know, she's not backward at coming forward. And so she brings confidence and really helps people to feel at home, not just on the planet, but within themselves. And I mean, what an amazing gift that is. If we can all start to feel at home within ourselves, then wow, you know, how different our experience of life is, hey? Love
it. Let's have a look here. Amanda Bradbury's on. Also, let go of fear and be enjoyed. That was probably related. That was for nice to see you on the show, Amanda. That's lovely. Rita says, I'm in a 4-year now. This is now Rita in Norway. And I think that is the right thing for me. I love this bottle. Oh, Rita, 4-year is foundational changes, things shifting. Yeah, I do get that. Sarah de Felice, you're from Canada, was just talking about Uranus with my friend's smiley face. I love the timing of this, Sarah. And Lisa Charmaine says, this is people in a year 8 dragon. Yes, of course, Melissa and I in a year 8. And this is our support dragon for the year. So there is a connection to this dragon for anybody who's in an 8 numerology here. Oh, that's lovely. Amy Bell says, love the copper sassy dragon. Char Fenton is on. She says, I've just completed completed the Copper Gaia's journey and used Copper Dragon throughout. She's indeed beautiful and grounding. Oh, Shah, thank you for sharing that. That's nice to know you've had a good connection with her. I couldn't resist putting the image of this little copper dragon over the bottle. I jazzed the bottle. I think it's that glitz you were talking about, that bit of glamour and sparkle and zazz.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of my first memories of this bottle is sharing it with a friend. And this friend is, she's really got a lot of feminine energy, but she'd suppressed that a lot. She wasn't really that comfortable in her own femininity. And this was way back in the day when I first started working with color mirrors. And I said, which spritzer do you most like? And she said, oh, it's that Copper Dragon. So she had a spritz. And I watched her body change. I watched her body language change, and she stood taller, and she kind of started almost swaying her hips, you know, and she suddenly got into her feminine body just with one spritz of Copper Dragon. And it was just an amazing kind of really visual and for her very visceral experience of how this dragon really embodied that energy of sass and shine and sparkle and the joy of being feminine and the fun and the play of being feminine.
Oh, I love that, Korani. Oh, I'm telling you, everyone's going to fall in love with the Copper Dragon all over again. Right. Now I want to talk about some books that you've written. You're the author of several books, and literally you've been a godsend to the color mirror system, because you've literally been scribe for the system. And I don't think we would have got a book out of Melissa if it wasn't for you. So you are without a doubt an angel sent from heaven with your quill pen, and thank you, God, for you, because your books are inspiring and absolutely beautiful. So I want to dig in. If anybody has any questions for Korani about her books, please pop it in. I'm keeping an eye on the other screen to the side of me here. I want to kind of delve a little bit into that journey of you as an author. Not just an author, but an author that channels, that downloads the energy, that gets the information, that completely only writes what she's guided to write. You're not somebody that can write on demand, right? The first book, Language of Light, how did that come about?
Well, first of all, just thank you for those incredibly kind words. It's really generous of you. You know, it's not something that I went looking for. I'd always loved to write, but I just didn't see myself doing this. But way back in 2009, when the Golden Gaia bottles came through, Melissa, I happened to be in South Africa with her at the time, and was kind of able to witness that process and be part of it, which was just astonishing. And as I was with her for a week, and we sat with these incredibly beautiful Golden Gaia bottles that were just the newest thing to the system at that time, and were completely different to anything else that was in the system at the time. She and I would just sit there and gaze at these bottles, but then energies would sort of pass through me, and I would feel words coming. And so I began just jotting some notes down as we were talking. And before I knew it, there was the beginning of a book. And Melissa said, Korani, you've got to write this book. I was like, I've never written a book before, but let me see what happens. And it was the most extraordinary experience. To this day, I still think this was my favorite of all the books, and the one that sort of blew me away the most, because it just felt so incredibly guided every step of the way. As you said, I'm not good at kind of just having to write something on demand. I can really only write when the inspiration's there. And like a lot of writers will say that they get up every morning and they write for an hour because that's the only way they'll ever get anything written. That's not the way I work at all. The way I work is to just literally hold myself open for the inspiration and wait for it to come. And if it's not there, I don't write, because it wouldn't work. And so I've learned that over the years, to really stay open to the energies. I mean, they will kick me out of bed at the most ludicrous times in the morning. Usually around 4, I find, is the time that I get kicked out of bed, sometimes earlier. And then I'm just being downloaded, and the words just sort of start flying out my fingers. And I never do longhand writing with a pen. I always go straight to the keyboard. That's just my preferred way of working. And it's like my fingers can go so much faster than I can write by hand. So I can type really fast, and the words go faster than I can type sometimes, because they do come through so quickly. And then other times, you know, they're not so quick, and I have to really kind of work the words a little bit. But my favorite part of all of the whole writing process is the editing. I just absolutely love it when the download has happened, and I've got the kind of the bare bones of the book. I've got the words sitting there that have been kind of channeled through. And then I go back and I craft them, and I shape them, and I move them around, and I tweak them until they just there's something, Melissa used to talk about when she makes the bottles, how she hears when the color is right, even though it's not a sound thing. And you think, how can she hear that? But it's like she gets an inner knowing that the color is right. Well, I get the same thing with the words in the book. It's like until it feels perfect, I can't leave it alone. I have to go back. I edited this book 12 times. I went back through it 12 times, the whole book, reworking it until it felt completely right. And it was the same with all the others. They have to feel exactly on track and perfect. And so that is actually my favorite part of all, is that tweaking and that playing with words. I just love words and really enjoy all of that.
I think you writing books and it is an inspiration for the rest of Color Mirrors, because it inspired me to write it, and it's inspired a whole bunch of other people. We're going to do a collaborative Color Mirrors book, which we're going to start working on this year. We've actually started working on it, but it hit a pause during the lockdown. And yeah, so everybody gets experience and get to experience a little bit about what you experience and open up to that, because I do think it's a sacred process. But Korani, I have to tell you what I love about The Language of Light, of course, is that it was a book for its time, because it said to people, you are going to ascend. Things are going to change. Your foundations are going to shift. And really the gold and the magenta on the cover was symbolic of that time, saying that, the new age of Aquarius is coming in. And lo and behold, in 2020, it hit us like a ton of bricks. So do you think that this book is even relevant for where we are now?
It's so interesting, because at the time, various people said to me, this is just way ahead of its time. It's just not going to, people are not going to be ready for it now. But I couldn't help it. It had to be written. And so it was. And so I just had to trust that at some point it was going to become more relevant. Because I think back then, obviously we were talking about ascension back then in 2009, very much so, but we really had no idea of what it entailed. And then the subsequent, what are we talking now, 11 years kind of since it was written, 12 years. We've learned a lot, haven't we, collectively and individually, about ascension and about the whole process of growing and evolving spiritually. And I very rarely look at The Language of Light anymore, except for when I'm perhaps sometimes working with somebody who's working with the golden energies myself. Or last year I did run a facilitator's course, and I revisited it. And I remember thinking, wow, some of this stuff's really quite interesting and really quite good, and it's like, it feels in some ways, in many ways, and Melissa will relate to this, like it has nothing to do with me. I sort of look at it as if someone else wrote it. And I think that there's a lot of, those golden Gaias still speak to me, and I think that they're speaking to more and more people now. They are really coming into their own as we step into this global time of change and evolution that we're in right now. I think that The Language of Light is only going to become more and more relevant. I hope that its message will speak to more and more people.
I agree with you. And then you came up with the Book of Platinum Light, and that kind of came out literally the next year.
Yeah, that's right. And this was one I resisted really, really hard, because obviously after the golden Gaias came through, then the beautiful platinum Gaias came through, which were the complementary colors to the golds. And a lot of people at the time who'd read The Language of Light said to me, oh, when's the platinum book coming out? And I was like, no, that's just not going to happen. And I was so in resistance about it. But the reason that I was, more than anything, was because I felt that the platinum energies were just so incredibly cosmic and so incredibly high frequency at that time, particularly, that I couldn't feel that there would be any words for them. To me, they seemed to go beyond words, and so I just was like, how can I possibly write a book? So this little one is actually just an ebook, and it's very, very short. It's really like 30 something pages. It's really small. But I think it packs, from what I've heard, from what people have told me, it packs a little bit of a wallop. Because it's really, what this one is just an energy download. It's just an energy transmission with a few words that kind of help to bring that energy through. But this was one that literally I was totally kind of dragged kicking and screaming into. But once it came through, there was no stopping it. And it happened within 3 weeks. I think the whole thing took from start to finish took 3 weeks to get those words out. So yeah, that was a totally different experience, but one that I loved as well.
Well, it's turned out to be such a useful resource, because when people connect with the platinum bottles and they say, well, what is this about? And I can't find the words. I say, go to Korani's site and go and get the book.
Oh, well, thank you for that, Moira. Thank you. I mean, I don't know that they'll get any great sense out of what the words say, because a lot of it is, it's very,
it's not about getting something out of it. It's about an experience and a feeling, and you have your own
exactly.
interpretation with platinums. They are just so off planet.
That's
But
it, exactly.
the way you wrote the book and the portals and the transmissions in there, it just feels, it just feels like it's that connecting that you facilitate for people through the book. And for that, we are very grateful to you.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm just so glad that people are enjoying these, because really, when you write a book, and any of you who've written, you'll know this, in some ways, you absolutely are writing it for yourself. It's like, it's a really personal process. And for me, whenever anybody says, oh, I enjoyed your book, it just really touches me. I think, wow, I'm just so thrilled that somebody likes what I've done. That's amazing. So yeah, it's a gift and a blessing.
And then, of course, you managed to get this book out of Melissy.
Again, talk about kicking and screaming, Moira. Wow. This one took a bit of work. But again, when I know something, I just know it. And Melissy knows this about me. And so when everyone was asking Melissy to write a book, I mean, she just had so many requests. And I remember I had started work on something else, and I said, oh, I've just done the first 2,000 words of the next thing. And she said, I've written 6 pages, and it was like 9 months in the in the doing. So I said to her, Melissy, would you like a bit of help? And she said, yes, please. So at that point, oh, poor me, had to go to South Africa again. What a shame. And spend another week with Melissy. And we had the most incredible experience of me sitting down with her and saying, okay, what is this book? And her going, well, I'm feeling that it might be, maybe we open up and just see what wants to come. And then we got this idea that there were questions that everybody out there was asking for answers to. What is the meaning of life? Why is this happening to me? Why is there so much anger and frustration in the world? Why does this happen? What is life about? So we came up with all these questions that we had either asked ourselves or other people had asked of us. And then I lay out in the sunshine with my little digi recorder on, and Melissy sat in the shade, and I would ask her the question. We'd get into this kind of zone, and I would ask her the question, and then she would just start speaking. And of course, the incredible wisdom that you find in her book, What the Seeker Found, just came through in that way. And it was, again, what an incredible joy to be a part of that process. And it's just so transformative, this book, because it really does answer the deep questions. And not only that, but it gives you an insight into your own processes and your own pathway, and what's happening to us on a collective level. And I think that's huge, to be able to place your own personal journey within a greater context, a global context, which is what Melissy absolutely does with this book.
Yeah, it's like this is the best kept secret of books. This should have been genuinely, this should have been a spiritual bestseller, but it just quietly sits where it sits, and then people connect to it, and then they get what it is. Yeah, I loved. Amy said something the other day. She said that she realized every time she opens this book, she's got all the answers. She doesn't know why she keeps asking questions when all the answers are in this book.
It's so true. It's so true. And I think what you said about it being a best kept secret is so true, and I just really hope that it's going to start to make its way out into the world more and more.
Oh, it will. Color Mirrors is expanding. We're 18 years old now. We're all grown up and ready to go into the world and work, get a job. So Color Conversations was an epic. I mean, I think, was it 3 years or something like that you worked
more. It took about 2 years to pull it all together, but it was 6 years in the making. From the time we started working on it and to the time it actually came out was 6 years. A couple of those years it sat in a drawer, nothing happened to it, but it literally was 6 years from start to finish before we got this out. And it is epic. It's absolutely epic. It's something like 430 pages now. I'm just updating it at the moment, actually. And yeah, it was a mammoth undertaking, but an incredible labor of love, Moira. This was something that Melissy and I just had such a ball with. We really loved this. It was just a lot of work to put it together, but yeah, loved it. It was an amazing process.
For those of you who don't know Color Mirrors or what this book is about, it really is, when you say that, we talk about people who love blue, and then we talk about the color blue, but what happens if they are wearing blue and yellow together? What do those color combinations mean? And this is what this color conversation is it's not just the colors, but the energies. What happens if a coral dragon speaks to a copper dragon, or a blue angel? What are the conversations that can come up? So it's for such a beautiful, to me, it is such a beautiful exploratory work. Just through the conversation, through that color is the language that you're speaking. This is the reference book for all students who study color mirrors, and it's been an incredibly useful tool as well. And for this book too, Korani, ever so grateful. And you can see when you start delving into it, and you see the immense amount of information that comes up, to information that tells you how to walk your spiritual path, why, and two colors coming together, or two energies coming together to say, this is why it's happening, and this is how you can change it. I love that part about the book.
Yeah, and it was, what an incredible experience it was for Melissa and I to talk, because we had to literally walk the path of experiencing every color with every other color. And there are something like, I can't remember, something like 500 combinations, bottle combinations in this book. So we had to literally experience that through our own bodies, which was quite a thing. I think I probably grew more through this color conversations book than anything else I've done. It was really transformational for me personally. And I know Melissa also really loved the process. And again, it took us by surprise what would come up sometimes. Some of the there was past life information came up, as well as future information coming up. There was deep programming we could see being revealed by the color combinations. All sorts of amazing things came up through this, which we had no idea was there. And it sort of surprised me in a way. And I remember vividly how this one came about, because we were updating the practitioner manual for color mirrors practitioners. And in that, we do teach some color combinations, what is red and green together, and so on. But I looked at it and I remember thinking, but what about all the others? Like, there's only a handful here. What about all the others? And so I remember saying to Melissa, what would yellow and copper be? And she said, well, that's a question. And she started answering me on an email. And then I said, well, yeah, and couldn't it also be la, la, la? And then before we knew it, we were going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with all these color combinations. And Melissa just said, there's a book here and you need to write it. And I was like, wow, okay. So that's how that one came about.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, as if we didn't have enough books on color mirrors, because by the way, this, we have other people in the color mirrors family, including myself, who've actually written books as well, right? So this is just the ones you've had a hand in. Well, you've had a hand in mine as well. I should have put them up here too, because you've edited everything. I trust your editing 100%. So you've been very good for my books too. But that'll come another time to chat about it. And then, of course, came The Wisdom of Color Mirrors, and this was launched in 2019. Wow. There's only one way to describe this book. It's a Bible of color, literally. It has biblical proportions to it in terms of editing. Not just the fact that it's a huge book and it's very thick.
Yeah, no, it's another big one. I either seem to do really little ones or really big ones. This was, again, what an extraordinary journey this was. And of course, going back before this, there was the amazing Color Works book by Pippa Merivale, which was astonishing. And that was really the first book about the color mirror system back in the days when it was called Color Works. And what Pippa did was that she met up with Melissa and had conversations about each of the bottles, and then she wrote them up. Then that was in 2006, I think. By the time we got to 2016, 10 years later, everyone was saying, come on now, the system has grown so much. We really need an update. And I kind of went, you know what? I don't think that's for me. And Melissa said, well, I can try. And then she said, no, this is not for me. And then, Moira, you had to go. And you were like, no, I don't want to do this. And then I think we all kind of went, no. And then suddenly, okay. So I started it. And it was a bit like pulling teeth back in 2015 or 16 when I started it. I just wasn't getting anywhere with it. And so I parked it. And then one day, and I think about, I don't know, maybe 2017, I woke up one morning, again, I just trust the timing always, because it's always given to me. I woke up one morning and I was just like, you know what? I need to go grab that file out and have a look at it. And when I did, I thought, it's time. It's time. And then it took me and Melissa 2 years from that point to get the whole thing together. And I did for the second year I worked on it pretty much full time. I mean, it really was an epic job, but again, an incredible experience. And in this book, we obviously take each bottle in the system and go in depth about what it's about, what its colors mean, what it can help you with, what it reveals. And then we share one of the amazing things, and I love about this book, is that we share stories from all of you, from all of the people who've worked with the color mirror system, who've bathed in bottles, who've used the spritzers, and it's full of the stories of all of you. And that's probably my favorite part of the book.
Yeah, because you really pulled the collective family of color mirrors, everybody that loves color mirrors, had experience with it, in to be a part of this book. And so it wasn't just a system book, it was a family book. And you feel it the minute you touch it. And then, you know, it gives a different perspective, because everybody has their own filter that they experience the color system through. And it just gives all these multiple perspectives for people to study and learn about, and get a grasp of just how vast the system really is. You know, that's I think it had to be a vast book, because it's a vast system.
Ain't that the truth? You know, it is a vast system. It's just so much bigger, and not just in terms of numbers of bottles, but in terms of what it encompasses and what it does. And I still don't think we've even scratched the surface of what it can actually do and what it can actually offer. And I think, you know, we're all in a process of ascension and evolution, but so the system is always as well. And the fact that Melissa's there's been in this last year, there's been 4 extraordinary new spritzers: the Buddha, Melchizedek, Coral Dragon, and now Magic. It's just a sign, in a way, of the system continuing to evolve and grow. And I think it's very exciting.
Yeah,
For us to see.
We are in exciting times. So Korani, I'd like you to talk a little bit about some webinars, because you've embraced this whole technology stuff as well, and you've got some webinars coming up that people can connect with you. And I'm going to seriously say to anybody, if you've not yet been on a workshop with Korani, if you've not yet immersed yourself in her energy, this is your opportunity. Please, my darlings, just say yes and turn up, because I know that every time I've been on a workshop that Korani has facilitated, I've leapt up a level, I've expanded. Something deep always happens to me. There is an energy that Korani holds that is, I always just think of, you know, Korani, whenever I think of just the word Elohim. You're so connected to the beings of light. You really, it's like you have this smartphone connection to up there, and you plug us all in very graciously when we're on your workshop. So if anybody wants to have that kind of plug in, come to her thing. So I did get, by the way, guys, if you want the books, you can go to korani.net and Amazon. The books are available there. So Korani, I'm going to ask you to explain this. You're starting something called the Earth series.
I am, and this is just something that's come through very recently, and I'm really excited because it's new work for me. And yeah, thank you again, Moira, for those incredibly kind words. So this is going to be 3 webinars, just 2 hours each, where we're going to reconnect with the riches of the earth through the energies of gold, silver, platinum, and copper. And initially, of course, I started with gold because gold is so dear to my heart, and it's a frequency and an energy that I really resonate with. And I just thought I want to do something with gold, but not in the way that I've done it before. I want to do something different with gold. And what came was to look at particularly the gold spritzers in the system, the gold essences, like the gold angel and the gold dragon, and Yeshua, and now we've got rose gold, which brings in a really different energy, and we've got Buddha, and we've got metal, and there's one in there called Starlight Radiance, which comes as part of the Starlight series of essences that Melissa so wonderfully created for me and for my work. And although I've put a couple of the oils in there, C11 in the middle, which is called Wisdom, and at the bottom, the pale gold is I Am, that's G12. But really, we're going to be not so much focusing on the individual bottles and what they do and how they help us, although that will, you know, inevitably come up. But we're just going to be really looking at this first webinar, accessing your own inner gold. How do you connect with, how do you find, how do you work with, how do you evolve the inner gold that you have within you? And I feel really excited about this because it's something that I love to help people to explore, is to really find their own nuggets of gold within them, so that they're not always having to turn to other people or to other teachers or to books or what have you to find their inner wisdom, but that they can start to really access what they know and what is true for them on the inside. So through this first webinar, there'll be exercises, and there'll be meditations, and there'll be transmissions, and maybe a little bit of light language thrown in there. And we'll be really connecting with how do you access your inner gold, and what might that look like for you in your life if you were really truly able to live as the gold that you are, as the golden extraordinary being that you are. So that's the first one on the 6th of April. That's Tuesday the 6th of April, and it's at 6 p.m. GMT, and I think that's 1 p.m. Eastern. And
yeah, I've actually got a slide coming up where we can give them all the registration. Yeah,
fantastic.
We'll repeat
so then
it.
the second one that came through was silver, and I knew I wanted to work with the silver energy to really help people to tap into your uniqueness. It kind of builds on what we start with, the inner gold, and then next comes the next level, the kind of a heightened level of that, where we're really going to focus in on what do you uniquely have to share with the world, because everybody has something that no one else has, and you may know that already, but this, I hope, will help you to go to a higher level with it. And if you don't know, if you're one of those people who's kind of going, oh, I just haven't really found who I am yet and what makes me tick, I hope that this will really help to enable that for you, so that you can start to embrace and love what is unique about you. Because I think often we focus so much on wanting to be like everybody else, wanting to fit in, not so much in color mirrors. Actually, there's a lot of fantastic individualism in the color mirror system, but I think generally people often want to feel safe, by being like everyone else. What silver encourages us to do is to say, I am different, and I love it. and really kind of go with your differentness, go with your uniqueness, and explore what that might mean, and again, how that might look in your world.
That one's happening on the 4th of May. And then you got a third one as well, Korani.
I have got a third one. And what's so interesting is I was initially just going to do gold, silver, and platinum. And then suddenly I went, oh no, copper has to happen. But I was like, no, there's not 4 webinars, there's only 3. And then I got these 2 come together, platinum and copper together. And this feels really exciting, because copper is so grounding, so earthing, takes us deep into the incredible, beautiful Gaia energies. Platinum is so cosmic and so starry and so light and so surreal and so ethereal, that to bring these 2 together feels like it's going to really do something. And this is where we're really looking at connecting the grid. And the title came to me. I had no idea what this was going to be called. And then it just suddenly dropped in, connecting the grid lines. I don't even really know what we're going to be doing yet, but it feels big and it feels powerful and exciting.
The way I know you work, it's like Melissa's taught all of us, right? You say yes, you turn up and see what happens.
It's exactly right. It's exactly so.
This one too.
Exactly. So I don't even know really what's going to happen in this one, but I know it's going to be massive and it's going to be very inspiring. And what you can do is you can pick and choose. You don't have to do all 3. You can just do one if that's all that you want to do. If you're just drawn to one particular one, you don't have to do all 3. But if you do decide to do all 3, they will definitely build on one another. So by the time you get to connecting the grid lines, you'll already have your inner gold and your uniqueness kind of set in there, and then you can start to do this work, which I think this third one is going to be more much more about not just individually what it means for you, but about the collective. This is for all of us, this is
it's
about
like a step up from the unique you to the Melissa's actually just said copper and platinum makes my heart sing.
Which is quite something for Melissa, isn't it?
Her and the coppers, and she was on the show, and she didn't sing praises of the copper at all. She's a okay, so here we go, my darlings. If you want to do the webinar with Korani, the first one is happening on the 6th of April, 6 to 8 GMT time. And you can register on Korani.net. Korani, just mention the fee for the workshops, your webinar workshops, please.
Yes, it's £21 for each workshop.
So that in Canadian dollars is about $38. So literally $38 to spend 2 glorious hours with Korani. Please just sign up. Go to Korani.net, go to her website and register. That's amazing, Korani. Thank you so much for that. Let me come back on the screen here. I kind of want to ask you a little bit around the energies of 2020 and 2021. Just have a little brief natter about that, because I do feel that all those books you wrote leading right up to the wisdom of color mirrors, they were like stepping stones to prepare us for this epic moment we're actually living. This isn't something we're going to read in history books. We're actually in it, making history, spiritual history, human evolution history right now. And I just wondered what your thoughts were around this time that we're in right now.
For sure. So I know that last year for so many people was incredibly challenging, and it was for me. It certainly was. And I think that, as you said when we were talking about the Uranus bottle, what it brought was just this knowing that we couldn't keep evolving and we couldn't keep moving on our ascension journey, carrying the baggage that we were carrying. There was still stuff, even no matter how much clearing we'd done and how much we'd worked on ourselves, there was still stuff that we were holding. And what last year did was it just said, you got to get rid of that. You got to dump that. You cannot carry that with you into this new age, this new time that we are starting to connect with. And back in 2009, when Melissa and I were connecting with the Golden Gaias and the Language of Light book, I knew it in the bones of my body and the cells of my being that we were stepping into a golden age. I knew it so deeply that it was coming. Little did I know that we to go on such a difficult and long protracted journey to even start to really bring it to earth. And in 2020 it kind of threw up for me all the questions around, is it real? Is this really going to happen? Did we just make that up? And then turned into 2021 and I suddenly got it really clearly and loud. It was just like, it's here. It's just here. I know it. And it might look on the surface like it's still very, very slow and it's only happening in small ways, but oh my God, it is so happening. And I know so many of us are starting to really feel it and experience it and go, there's something very different happening in the energy now. And it just feels like there's more possibility, there's more opportunity, there's more oneness, there's more connection. We as a Color Mirrors family, I can really feel it with us that we are all starting to conjoin and come together in ways we haven't before. And we're just the microcosm of the macrocosm. So although on some level there's huge separation still going on in the world around us, of course we can see that and feel it. And it's very challenging for those of us who are very sensitive. We can see what's going on. We can feel that. But also there just is so much hope and there is so much promise and there is so much beauty and potential available to us. And my overriding sense through this last kind of, since I have been on the spiritual path really, but particularly in these last few years, has just been our job is just to keep holding the vision, just as Melissa always says, just keep holding the vision, keep holding the light, keep holding the frequencies, keep evolving ourselves. And as we do that, we are contributing so much to the evolution of the planet.
It's so interesting how you mention how the color people are coming together because, Amy Bell has been doing this magazine and she's just about to launch the red one. Now, let me just quickly do a couple of slides and share it here with people. This is what collaboration, this is what, to me, what the Golden Age of Aquarius is about, is people coming together. So let me just do a little shine of what that looks like, and practically what it looks like. Let me see if I can get the right slide up. Yeah, can you see the color magazine there, Korani?
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. I'm just loving this magazine.
So Amy Bell, who is a Color Mirrors teacher, created a black one, a copper one, and it's supposed to be the other way around. I did the slides quite rushed earlier on. And there is the red one that is now actually coming out on the 1st of April. And you can download the e-version of it for free, or you can go to Amazon and actually get a hard copy. And I mean, the copper edition was like over 150 pages, and it's just filled with this incredible people talking about their industries, design industries, creative industries, and financial industries, anything really in the world that's to do with creative energy, because creative energy is in everything, because we're part of the creator, we create. And it's just an incredible collaborative process that she's pulled together. And you can just have a look here. These are just the lifestyle columnists. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 color mirrors, 5 color mirrors peeps on that page. And then business columnists, I'm very fortunate to be in that part of the magazine, also with Dwayne, who's also part of it. So, some of us have deep training in color mirrors, some of us have been dipping into color mirrors. And then, of course, she also featured one of somebody who's just Louise, who's just become a color mirrors practitioner. She featured her art in the copper edition. So very, very grateful to be part of this. And I just want to give a shout out to Amy. Anybody, if you are interested here, please would you contact Amy, because she is looking for more columnists. She has a lot already, but definitely if you want to be a columnist in the magazine, all you have to do is love color. And just every week, there's every 3 months that it comes out, we have a color theme. You can advertise in it as well. So she is taking her advertising rates are super, super affordable. So please contact Amy. She is the founder, and there's also the website you can go to, unitedcolorsofdesignmag.com. And on the 12th of April, Amy's going to be a special guest, and we'll tell you a little bit more about how this magazine came about, and a little bit more, we'll do a bit more features around the Red magazine that has come up. But that to me, Korani, is what it's about. And I think it's exactly where we're going. 10 years ago, we would never have talked about a magazine, you know, about color, or I don't know, just there's this change that's happened.
Really, truly. And I just think Amy's just doing such an incredible job. The magazine is brilliant. It's beautiful, and it's informative, and it's inspiring, and really just stunning. And I think, as you said, it's got all these amazing people contributing to it, and a lot of them are from our Color Mirrors family, and that's just so exciting.
A lot of them are just people in the industry. I mean, the hairdresser in the copper edition speaks about putting brown in your hair and copper in your hair. What does that mean? You know, we had, you know, Dwayne, who did financial, he's a financial advisor, and he spoke about the copper penny and what the copper penny meant. You know, I mean, so Amy gives you the challenge that says, you know, we're going to do the Red edition, and you must focus your column and your what you're educating and mentoring people, because it's really mentoring. This is her intention behind this magazine is to bring forward us oldies who've been around for a long time, have a lot of information, to share it with all these newbies.
Fantastic.
So to put ourselves forward as potential mentors for a new generation. And the only thing we all have in common is the color, you know. So what do I have in common with a hairdresser or a financial person or a person who does dancing? It's just we just create our columns according to that color frequency. So and so at the same time educating people about the psychology of color through a magazine. I think it's brilliant. Yeah. Oh man, we're living in interesting times, eh?
We certainly are. I mean, I always remember Melissa saying to me, why would we not come to be part of a planet ascending? You know, what a rush, what an incredible experience. And it's like, yeah, and I have to remember that in the times when it's not so fun. But it, you know, it really is, what an incredible experience that our souls brought us here to be part of. This process on the planet at this time. It's incredible.
Well, one of the things that of course evolved with me was the shadow work, and it was interesting because it kind of started with the Silver Guys, when the Silver Guys came up, and then suddenly there was this download, because I panicked. I said, Melissa, there's stuff buzzing in my head. What do I do? She says, start writing. And I thought, oh, I'm writing a book, or it turned out to be and I thought it could be a course, and it wasn't. It turned out to be a healing system, and that opens the back of the chakras with ease and grace using the color mirror system. So that came through, and then I thought, oh, great. So now we have this healing system. And then the next thing, and again, I sat on the first workshop with 20 people with their cash in a bag behind me, ready to give them back their money, because they said they wanted to be there, and I had no idea what was going to happen. So the whole thing just spontaneously combusted in front of me, right? And so at the end of that process, I sat back and thought, what just happened? I didn't have a clue. I mean, you know, I'm pretty clueless. It takes me a while to figure things out. You know, you've been my mentor as well for many, many, many situations in my life. And then suddenly I realized that the opening of the back of the chakra is opening us up to face our shadow at a very deep and personal level, but without fear, without fright, without judgment. And so then the shadow work came up, and I started Love and Money boot camps. And I thought that I didn't want to call them shadow workshops, because people would be scared if I said, come face your shadow. Instead, let's deal with your love and money problems. So I thought I'd do this fun, you know, this little little mask of a name for a workshop, but really it was shadow work. And then in 2018, very much like you, I just one day sat down and this thing came through, and it was a gargoyle image I saw, and it was communication. And literally within 3 weeks, the entire shadow deck was written. Never been published, never been out there, because it was a process. It was something that happened, and just whenever I try to say, okay, let's put it into print, and it just, the first graphic designer, by the way, she nearly died. She started working on the gargoyle images and had to be locked in isolation for some illness she had. So I just thought, oh God, no, this thing is either very evil, it can't go out into the world, or the world's not ready for it, or I dreamt this whole thing. So I went through this process, and then I remember Melissa read everything I wrote, and then I said, no, Korani has to read this as well. And can you just tell me, what did you think when I sent you the first cards and the words to edit? What was your feeling about this shadow work, and that, do you think this is something that's relevant?
Well, it blew me away. It absolutely blew me away. I thought it was extraordinary, and it was something that only you could do. Seriously, we're talking about uniqueness. You have incredible gifts and skills that only you have, that nobody else could do. And I just think I've known you for so long, and I've watched you grow and evolve and just do such extraordinary work and help so many people. And I've seen you would work with your own shadow process so deeply that it's almost, in a way, you had to go through that so that you could create this. And so when I got it, I really was blown away with it. And I just was amazed at how you had so succinctly captured the shadow, all of these different shadow kind of personalities, and you had given them very, very succinctly what it was about and what to do about it. I was just like, this is extraordinary and so clever. And kind of like we talked about some of my stuff being maybe a little bit, out left field and a little bit ahead of its time. I kind of felt the same thing with yours, that it just wasn't time yet. People weren't ready. But you know what? They're getting to that point now where they're not going to shy from this anymore. They're going to say, you know what? I have to work with this. I need to look at my shadow, because it's sitting on my back and it's keeping me down, and I just can't be doing with it anymore.
So yeah, so literally that is, I think, where we're at, is ready to launch. And it's so funny that that nothing came together to make it happen. And thank God for Amy, because Amy designed the cards, and but again, she had other commitments, so the whole thing kind of slotted into our schedules. And then of course I had to get the website, and I had to wait for John to be ready, because John had a heart attack at one point, and it was like he couldn't even work on my website. So every time I was ready to do something with it, to put it out into the world, it just didn't happen. And then of course the printer never updated the quotes. I mean, you name it, there was just everything that said not now, not now. And then all of a sudden it's ready, it's happening. So without further ado, I will make an announcement, and Korani knows what we're doing here, so thank you for supporting this. I really deeply appreciate it. And I'm going to make an announcement, and it's now official. Let me just make sure that I can change. Oh, goody. Sorry, I am having a little technical glitch here.
Oh, we've got it. There it is.
Now, there we go. Right. Okay, we just had to have a flashback through all my slides there. So the Color Your Shadow deck officially today is starting its pre-launch sales, and is going to have special offers available till the 12th of April. So we have a 2-week sales flash. So this is a pre-launch, and really what this is to raise the funds to get this thing into print, and to get it out there. So there is going to be a pre-launch sale only for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, it's going to be full price. All right, there will be no more specials after that. So the deck will be retailing at $55, that's Canadian dollars, and you can get it for $10 off for the next 2 weeks. So you're going to be pre-ordering this, and you can get it on my website. So John actually has he worked the last 2 weeks, his butt off updating my website and getting it up there. So there is a link now for you to purchase your deck, with the option, of course, there's tax added 13%, and the option for posting it to you or collecting. You can order as many as you like. Please order lots, because I need to raise funds to get this into print. If for whatever reason it doesn't happen, I'll refund you, okay? But we don't want to talk about that. We're not even going to go there. It's time. And then there is an accompanying course for you to learn how to read shadow cards. Shadow cards is not the same. You can't read it in the same approach as you do for angel oracle cards, for example. You have to have some basic training on how to work with these 44 cards. The gargoyles, especially the images on them, just alerts people, that pushes buttons for them. So I'd like you to be prepared as a reader on how to read them. So I have created a course for you. Again, there's a pre-launch special for you, and it's going to be less 25% for the next 2 weeks. I hope that's good for you. You can find a link to register for this course on moirabush.com or through the moirabushabacademy.teachable.com. If you're already a student, you would have seen that over the weekend we went live with this. And so there you go. And then there's going to be a webinar, and this is going to be a free webinar, and I'm going to have it over the Easter weekend on Saturday the 3rd at 1 p.m. EDT. Clocks are changing in the UK, aren't they?
They changed yesterday.
They changed. All right. So that would make it 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock GMT on the 3rd, Saturday the 3rd. And I'm going to have Amy Bell actually come on, who's the designer, and we're going to ask Amy to talk a little bit about the process she went through just working with the energy of the cards, and it was huge. I'm going to talk about upcoming, not just the reading shadow course, but other courses that will come up around shadow work. I'm going to do some free shadow sample readings for participants and answer your questions, amongst other things. The tickets are for sale on Eventbrite, and I think my son would have put the Eventbrite link in for you. Michael would have put it in. If not, I'll be posting the Eventbrite link for you to buy your ticket to come to the free event. So there you go. It's live. It's happening.
It's very exciting, Moira. Just a huge congratulations to you. I know how much energy and time you've put into creating this, and it is extraordinary. And I think that people will just benefit from it so hugely, because it's one of those topics that people don't want to talk about, that people don't want to write books and things about shadow. They want to write about all the lovely, light, fluffy stuff, but this is real. This is real, and it's shadow stuff that blocks us. Yeah. And when we are actually willing, talking about Uranus earlier, bottle 4, when we're willing to face up to that stuff, then it actually is nowhere near such a big deal. It's the willingness to actually do the work that's the thing.
And then also you've got the color mirror system. There's bottles for each single pattern, the 44 that are there, that you can work with a bottle and face that shadow and deal with it, because I think that's the beauty about color mirrors, is we can put this information out there to face the shadow, to look at it from an intellectual point of view. You're going to read the card, you're going to get the image, you're going to read the message, but then what do you do about it? Well, you get the matching bottle and you go and bathe in it and have that conversation. Because the thing with the shadow is you can't get rid of it. It's part of who you are. You make friends with it. You love it. You start working with it. You collaborate with it.
It's so true. It's so exactly that. It's really, there is absolutely no point in vilifying and making your shadow the big dark bogeyman in the corner. This is about, as you said, it's about embracing that part of you, and then it actually doesn't have to be the big deal that you thought it was.
No, I remember when I was, I think it was in 2019, I was thinking, why is this deck not happening? It's already a year old and it wasn't happening. And I thought, well, let me go and talk to the devil. So I literally went into a deep meditative state, and I said, okay, can I talk to you now? So obviously the devil being my devil, right? My dark side. And I approached this figure who was standing with his back towards me, and it was represented as a male, and it had this kind of shadowy colors around it. A very deep magenta looking color as well, not black at all. And I said, excuse me, can I have a chat with you? And he turned around, and I looked at him, and he was quite beautiful actually. And I just said, look, am I okay to publish this stuff and make it public knowledge and put it out there? And he shrugged his shoulders, turned around and walked away. And I was like, he didn't give a shit what I did. So
I love it.
It happened. It was timing. Then I knew it was timing. There wasn't a block from the dark side or any of that kind of nonsense happening. So please, my darlings, if the shadow deck is of interest to you, all the Color Mirrors family and all the fans of color, this is the opportunity that I would deeply appreciate you using to spread the word and let people know about it. Make use of the special offers that are there, and let's see if we can get this deck into print. And then the official date I'm aiming for to launch, to have the deck in our hands as well as to have the course live, will be the 31st of May. That's the kind of lead time we need to give the printer time to work with. So Korani, we're going to end the show, and I'm going to just have a look at our, I'd like you to give a little color message for our viewers for the week. Okay, so let me just see if I can Go back again to camera and see if the camera is still doing its thing. Hey, camera's doing its thing. There we go. All right. So those of you who picked number 1, you have got 7 Neptune. And Korani, this was your my pick as well.
Yeah, it
What's
was.
coming up this week for people with that energy?
So the message for you, anyone who's choosing bottle 1 this week, is trust. It's kind of as simple as that. It's like one word. It's just like you can see it written across the middle of the bottle. Trust. This is your opportunity to put trust in place where you haven't been able to put trust in before. This is your opportunity to open bigger to trust, open deeper to trust the universe, to trust yourself, to trust life, that the universe has got your back. You know, that's the one thing that I would say about this message for you this week is the universe has got your back. So just let go and surrender and trust.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Yeah. And how apt that it's my one as well this week with the shadow cards launching today, the pre-launch.
Perfect.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. So for those of you who chose number 2, it's the partnership bottle. It's that deep magenta and like a darker olive color at the bottom. What have we got going on this week, Korani?
Okay, so for those of you who are choosing this one, partnerships, this is an opportunity for you to look at your partnership, yes, on a human level, but what I'm getting more than that this week is for you to look at your partnership with the universe, with life, with the divine, with God, whatever you want to call it. Looking at how you partner with the divine. Are you the child in this relationship, waiting for the universe to make everything happen for you? Are you the parent who tries to be in control and dominate the universe and make things happen according to your will? Or are you willing to see if this could be a co-creative relationship between you and the universe to make your life really work and really sing? And you've got the magenta of divine love sitting on the olive of hope and new energies for the future. So it's actually, although the message of this bottle can sometimes be a bit kind of like, you know, take care around your partnerships, be careful about them, and that's always true with this bottle. This week I think it's really asking you to look at your relationship and your partnership with the universe.
I love it. Oh, that feels wonderful. Thank you. And then our third bottle, for those of you who picked number 3, it is 16, the Tower energy.
Yeah, you've really gone for some interesting ones this week, haven't you, Moira? Okay, so I'm loving this because it's actually, this tower is looking very, very pale. You can see the olive on the top is very soft and gentle, and then a really soft lilac on the bottom. So now for a lot of people, when they choose the tower bottle, it's a little bit like, this is a bit scary, you know, because the message is, if you're not willing to do it for yourself, the universe might just have to give you a nudge, and maybe even more than a nudge. You know, this is kind of like big things need to shift and change here. But what I'm seeing with this bottle today, and for all of you who are choosing this for this week, is because of these very soft pale colors, this is saying to me, actually, that's all still true. There might be some really big changes needing to happen for you, but we can hold you. You know, the universe is going to hold you while this is happening. You are going to be so supported. And what I'm seeing with these colors is just spring, the beautiful energies of spring here, of kind of new buds opening and new possibilities. So don't be afraid of the change that's coming. You know, it's like you're going to be supported through it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What a positive spin on also a very weird bottle. I love it. Thank you so much, Korani.
It's a pleasure.
I hope you're going to come back, because I'd like us to have some more conversations about color mirrors and your work and our family. And because honestly, you're just this incredible fountain of information and knowledge. And you know, you more than anyone has dipped yourself into the energy of the color mirror system. I mean, just all the color combinations alone, to have worked your body through that. It's an amazing Olympian kind of process you've been through with colors. So you are truly, truly, truly our expert on color mirrors. So please do come back and let's talk some more in the future. Are you game for that, girl?
I would absolutely love it, Moira. This has been such a joy. It's been an absolute delight to speak with you. And, you know, I just love your energy, and I love how engaged you are with the technology and with the world of color, and how you've taken us and put us on the map like nobody else has. And I really take my hat off to you for what you've done all these years. So I think it's great that us old hands get to have a bit of a chat and kind of share our experiences, and in the hope that will inspire people, through our experiences and our information.
Thank you so much, Korani. And please, my darlings, if you haven't watched the whole show, go back. There's a lot of information. Korani has a webinar on, and you can go check out the information on her website, korani.net. And they are three series, Earth series webinar that is absolutely beautiful. You want to connect with Korani. You want to spend some time in her energy. It will be transformational for you. And so, my darlings, thank you so much for joining in. And thank you, Korani, for giving us such a beautiful reading for the week. And I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next week again.
Bye, everybody.